Hello, everybody. Coach Mitch with another lesson. This one is on something called Aikido Chess. I learned this from Grandmaster Maurice Ashley, who is not only a strong chess player, but a very strong person. And evidently, he's into martial arts, and he learned about a martial art called Aikido, where you use your opponent's actions against him. You look for the weaknesses in what your opponent is trying to do to you. And then what you do is you look for the drawbacks in that to come up with your ideas. Uh, every move in chess has a drawback, except for checkmate. And there's a sequence in this game where I use this to help me, to guide me to find some moves. I was white. This game was played in 2011. Black was Alan Price, who at the time was a little bit higher rated than I was. And since then, he's gone on to become a master. So he's a very strong player, every bit as good as I am, although not in this game. I'm just going to pause for a second. Yeah, I just had to do a little bit of adjusting with the board. So I was white in this position. And again, I played at the time, played very classically king pawn play, e pawn, put a pawn in the center, get out your bishops and knights, castle. He played the Sicilian defense, very popular. The idea is to fight for the d4 square, so I played the most principal move, c3. The idea is I'm going to play d4, and if he takes it, I try to capture with the pawn. I like to have pawns in the center, don't you? So he plays d5, attacking my e-pawn. Take. By the way, this is all book, all best moves. Not so much. I have a choice here. There's no way I'm going to just try to keep the pawn, because he'll just sacrifice the pawn, and that's not the way I play chess. I think he's going to have all the fun here. I think he's at least equal. So let's go back. So I just bring out my pieces. I don't try for too much in the beginning. So we have this position. I just play d4, put a pawn in the center. He takes, and again, I take with the pawn so that I have a pawn in the center. I don't take with a piece. Again, just keep on developing, both of us. This is actually a major system. We're still in book. Going to get castled. Bishop c4 is an alternative, but this is the main move. And now you put a rook on a half-open file. He has a choice here. Let's go back. The main moves are knight f6 or bishop f6. They're both good. So he plays bishop f6. And now he has two attackers on this pawn, one defender, although I don't know if he can take it because I have some tactics based on bishop takes this guy and queen takes here. But I play the main move here, bishop to e4. And the main move for black is play knight c e7 to just put everything on, defend the square a lot. And it's a game. He played knight takes knight. Now, I had never seen that move before. Turned out it had been played, but again, I have no choice. I have to take pawn takes knight. I can't just give up a knight. And queen c7. That's another move that had been played before. His idea is he's going to put pressure on the c pawn. He'll move the knight out of the way and attack this guy. But there's another way of looking at it. Not just what does he do, but what's the weakness behind that move? What square is no longer defended as much? And the answer is g5. If we go back, I can't bring out a piece to g5 because he has two pieces aiming at it. But once he moves the knight, I could put something on g5. And I could put either the knight or the bishop. The computer, and I think the Grandmaster game in this position, the Grandmaster played bishop g5. But I think moving the knight is just as good. It's a little bit more aggressive. It has a threat. So I'm threatening h7. And I was not worried if he plays bishop takes knight, because then I have a strong center and I have two strong bishops. And I think I have a nice little edge in this position. Not winning, but I'd be very happy to play this. So let's put it back. And instead, he plays g6. Now, his previous move weakened the g5 square. What does pawn to g6 weaken? Yeah, it weakens the f6 square, the bishop. So I attack the bishop. And by the way, I'm also lining up not just against the bishop, but I'm also lining up against this pawn. So it's aiming in two different directions. So he moves the bishop. And now what does that weaken? Well, it doesn't really weaken it, but what it does is here I'm attacking f7 once, and he's defending it 3 times. That's a very safe pawn. But now I'm attacking it twice, and he's defending it 3 times. Still safe, pretty safe, but it's a little bit weaker because I have an extra attacker on it, the queen. So what I do is I chase the rook away. I bring the bishop out. Now the rook moves, and it's 2 attackers, two attackers, and 2 defenders. And that's going to be a tender spot for him for a while. He has to keep an eye on it. So he didn't do that. What he did instead was he moved a knight there. But notice, he still now has only 2 defenders because the queen no longer defends f7. I might have said f2 before. It's f7. In addition, the knight is in a pin. You really don't want to put your pieces in pins. Now, the knight can move, but I'll play bishop takes rook and win material. So this is annoying. In addition, now it opened up an attack on this diagonal on the b7 pawn. So I have 2 attackers, 2 defenders. If we go back, 2 defenders, no attackers, because the bishop and queen are aiming at the knight, not at the pawn. So what I do is I attack the pawn again. Again, look to see what his moves leave behind his weaknesses and try to take advantage of that. So I attack what he no longer defends. So now I have 3 attackers on the square, these 2 and this. And he has 2 defenders. And he can't move the knight back because of this pin. So it looks like he has to play this move. And you see how my moves just flow from one to the next based on what I'm telling him I want him to do. I want you to weaken your squares, weaken them, then I take advantage of it. Now the next move surprised him. I actually could tell from his body language that he didn't see it. And what's cool about that move, it now exploits this diagonal. Now it's not so much my queen is going to take the rook, but if I fight for the diagonal, the bishop can come there, and the bishop could take things. For instance, if he plays queen takes queen, now not only is the bishop attacking the knight, which can't move, but the bishop can come in to d6 next move, chase the rook away, and then I'll have, for instance, if he goes here, not the best move, I chase the rook away, and then I win a pawn. I'm not winning the game, but I'm definitely for choice. A clear pawn up with no big weakness. I think like more likely than not, white would win this game. So let's go back. So that move came as, let's go back. Okay, so Queen G3 came as a surprise to him. He played an interesting move, which I actually did not see. And so that stops all the nonsense on that diagonal. But it didn't stop my other move. Now, around his king, I'm attacking f7 once, it's defended twice. G6, forget about it, it's defended 3 times. H7 is attacked once and defended once. Attack it again. Okay. Do you see a tactic I could use to take advantage of that? Okay, so what I played was knight takes pawn. What? Yeah, because if he takes, then I play queen h4 check, and then I probably play bishop takes knight. And a one pawn in his king side is much less safe. I've removed one of his defending pawns. Am I winning? Probably. Am I going to win? Who knows? So let's go back. So instead of king takes, he just moved his rook away. I'm just going to pause for a second for my benefit. So he just moved his rook away, defending the knight. And now I remember I had a choice of queen h4 or knight g5, and I wasn't sure which one was better. And when I calculated, I came to the wrong decision. It turns out queen h4 is a better move. I just didn't see it at the time. You know, can't see everything. So I played knight g5. He brought his bishop out. And then I played queen h4, and I have some threats on h7. He took a pawn. Now, material is equal, but I took a pawn around his king. My king is very safe. So I have to get the bishop out of danger. Now, I don't think that bishop b4 is the best move. The computer thinks bishop to b2 is better. The computer even thinks bishop to d6 might be better. The computer's probably right, but I didn't see it at the time. So I played bishop b4, which attacks the queen and gets the bishop out of danger. Now I'm a pawn down, but I'm still attacking his king. So I check, take. Wait, we can't, oh no, he's pinned. Remember that pin? That pin's really annoying. So now it's a real pin. He can't even move at all because it's illegal. So I've got material is equal, but I have 3 pieces buzzing around this king. The rook is coming in, and this rook is not too far away. So I'm attacking with my whole army. When you attack with everything and the kitchen sink. And his pieces are very clumsy defending. This rook is a little bit out of play. Am I winning? Who knows? But I like the way I like how I'm attacking. So I'm actually have 2 threats. I have queen takes f7 mate, and I also have knight e6 with a fork. Notice the pawn is pinned. So this is really annoying how my pieces are pinning his pieces. He defends against both threats. And now I play rook e4. The idea is to get the rook somehow into the game, into his position. Oh, we're just going to go back. It turns out rook e5 is better according to the computer. The computer's right. I actually did not even see that. It did not even occur to me. If he plays bishop takes rook, queen takes, I have threats all over the place. I'm threatening some sort of mate on h8, queen h8. And based on the attack on the knight, I'm also threatening this rook because this rook has to protect the knight and the rook. So I'm threatening, this would have been stronger, but I did not see it. And this looked good too. It gets the rook into the game, into his position with an attack on the queen, giving away a pawn. Oh, by the way, he's attacking my rook, but when I move the e rook away, now the queen still protects it. It's a little bit hairy. I'm lucky that my queen is protecting it, but I said, let's go back. And now the rook is sort of has a masked attack against the bishop. So it's, and in some variations, if the king goes back to this file, the bishop is pinned. So he played that rook there, rook e to c8. Again, now I have 4 pieces really in his position, and the rook is a little bit hairy, but it's not, it's very close to being in the game. And I take that guy. And if he plays king takes bishop, I play rook takes bishop. So he played that move. Now, he's attacking this guy, but it's defended. But he's actually attacking something else now. I hope you see it, because again, if you miss one thing in this game, because everything is just on edge, pieces are floating all over the place. If you miss one thing, you could lose the game. And I really mean it. I could play, hey, I'll just play that move, and I get checkmated. That's pretty embarrassing. So I'm winning material, so I play a safe move at the rook, where it just defends everything and really can't be attacked. He takes, I take. So I'm a piece up. I don't know what that move does. At the Grandmaster level, Black would resign in this position, and he was running short on time, so he didn't have time to realize that he should resign. So I took a long time on this position. Now, I am not sure why I just didn't play queen e5 check and win this guy. He would have resigned on that. I would play that move now. I don't know why I didn't see it. It turned out the move I played was even better because it leads to a quick mate, but or it wins the queen. But I should have just won the rook. So I just played queen f6, and the 2 rooks and even this rook coming in is going to be checkmate, or he might even have to give up his queen for this rook. For instance, if he goes here, I just play rook takes pawn, and it's going to be checkmate unless he plays queen takes rook. So he did resign. Again, I want to go back to that position where I look to see, I'm going to pause. Okay, we'll go back to this sequence where he weakened the g5 square, so I took advantage of it. He weakened the f6 square, so I attacked the bishop on it. He allowed me to attack f7 again, so I tried to chase. I got rid of one of the defenders. He opened up the line to the b7 square, so I attacked the square that has been weakened. And then he had this crazy little formation on the diagonal So I took advantage of that with that move. And based on all that, when he decided to just try to give away a pawn, try to just block everything with a pawn, then I used the pieces somehow, they're all on active squares, to play for a tactic which weakened his king enough so that I was able to get his king to have a mating attack. It took another 15 moves, but just slowly just throw all your pieces at the king. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry about my voice. And thanks to Grandmaster Maurice Ashley for that idea of Aikido chess. Hope to see you soon. Stay safe.